The worlds of din that were created and destroyed before there could be a combination of chesed and din, before both places together chesed and din, that the world in fact actually the world can in fact actually be inhabited, right, and be user-friendly for mankind, right? To combine the spiritual and the physical. So really, in a certain sense, we see that the entire story of Shimon actually in fact, mirrors the story of creation. He goes into the cave. These pashtus from Gashmis, the stripping of one's physicality is really din. Because what requires chesed is an allowance for man's physicality. But without physicality, right, there's no reason that man needs the midas, the attributes of chesed, right, of mercy. So in other words, Reb Shimon Yochai's Torah, in a certain sense, paralleled, right, the creation of God, that God thought to create the world. And when he went out to the cave, in fact, he could, when he was able to relate to the physical world, it was nothing but destruction. And this parallels what Chazal tell us in Torah V'Ochel. In fact, not only did he think to create the world with din, but he created worlds of din, which destroyed. And therefore he was forced to go back into the cave, and to come out of the cave, and combine the midas hachesed and midas hadin in order to navigate to the world. And then the world was able to achieve a kiyum, to achieve a certain type of thing that would sustain us, and that we'd be able to find the right balance between the physical and spiritual, in which we would, in fact, combine elements of the physical, and by unifying it, bring it up to the spiritual. That, in fact, is the story over here. Now, the interesting thing is that this is what Chazal tell us in the Gemara on Shabbos. But at what point did Reb Shimon Yochai, what time was he privy to this secret? It's very interesting. The story has to begin that there was a protest against the Roman Empire, right? And what was this protest against the Roman Empire? So, once again, they were sitting there, and the Roman Empire was being praised. And Shimon Yochai, right, made a protest, and the emperor made a death decree against him, and he was forced, in fact, actually to go into the cave. So what are Chazal telling us by this? What Chazal are telling us by this, in my opinion, is that after the destruction of the temple, and the Jews, of course, right, lost their political, their military, and what you would call their physical powers in the world, it was necessary in order to counteract, in order to navigate history and counteract the forces that seek to destroy the Klal Yisrael, that the Jewish people harness immense spiritual powers. Immense spiritual powers. This is in fact what the Gemara is saying. What allows Klal Yisrael to navigate an entire world which uses awesome weapons to try to destroy us? So, what Chazal are telling us is that factually that the learning of the Kabbalah, the learning of the Torah, are not merely academic, but there are ways in which the Jewish people are able to harness spiritual forces and actually make an imprint on the spiritual world in a way that we're able not only to navigate the history, but bring history, in fact, to its climax. Now, it's very interesting. I want to bring a line from this. It says over here that one of the praises he made of the Roman Empire, he spoke about shvakim, which are marketplaces. He spoke about merchatzois, bathhouses, and he spoke actually about bridges, which are collecting taxes. Now, who was the person who actually invented bathhouses, markets, and taxes as money, right? It's Yaakov Avinu. It says in Bereshis that before Yaakov Avinu went to Shechem, so it says there, Vayichanes Pnei Ha'ir. He came to Shechem. And Chazal learned that Yaakov Avinu actually invented or brought to mankind three things. He created bathhouses, mechatzais. The same words are used. He created shvakim, which are markets, and he created a matbeah, which was a coin. So Chazal say that it was actually this thing that the Roman emperor the Roman Empire was priding itself on were creations of a Jew. They were creations of Yaakov Avinu, Vayichanas Pnei Ha'ir. And the Gemara gives 3 opinions. Now, who is Yaakov Avinu? It's very, very interesting that it says Vayichanas Pnei Ha'ir. And then after that it says what? What's the next pasuk? It says, he built a Mizbeach, Vayikulo Kel Elokei Yisrael. So Rashi says, Chas v'shalit, Vayikulo Kel Elokei Yisrael. He called it God, the God of Israel. So Rashi says, on that pasuk, what does it mean to say, Yaakov Avinu called it Mizbeach? Kel, he called it a God, Chas v'shalit. So Rashi gives an explanation. The Rashi says there's a Gemara in Megillah Daf Yud Ches. And then the Gemara Megillah Daf Yud Ches says that God called Yaakov a God, a Kel. So Rashi says he doesn't understand. The words of Torah are very complex. It's like beating a rock and all different smocks, which are different varied interpretations. But I want to say pshat in the Gemara and Megillah. We know that man is created b'tselem Elokim, which is the word Elokim, Kel. And the Shachaim explains Tselem Elokim means just like a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? Mitzidenu, from our standpoint, right, is the source of powers of the world in which he makes a imprint, and he is the source of all spiritual, metaphysical powers in the world. Man with his Tselem Elokim is also the source of spiritual powers in the world. Man, through his mitzvahs and through his tefillahs, is able to imprint upon the world through his spirituality. So what happens is that when Yaakov Avinu, this is Chazal, when Yaakov Avinu comes to Shrem, what does he do? He creates shvakim, which are markets. He creates melchatzos, which are bathhouses, and he creates a matbeah. After Yaakov Avinu has established the fundamentals, I guess, of civilization, in a certain sense, the power of civilization, something that 1,000 years, 2,000 years after that, the Romans would pride themselves on. Then the Kadosh Baruch Hu calls him Kel, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kiviyocho, right? Tells us, the Torah tells us that now Yaakov has these immense spiritual powers, B'Tselem Elokim, that through these spiritual powers he's able to affect the world's imprint, the metaphysical world, and in fact harness the forces of history, right? And bring the world to its completion. So I want to claim that that's actually what Chazal are telling us. That the Rashbi, when he protested against the pride of the Romans in creating the Shvakim and Chatzos and Matbeah, and he hid in the cave, what he did was he studied the secrets of the Torah, through which Klal Yisrael, only through Limud Torah, is able to make an imprint on the spiritual world, and therefore we're able to resist, to survive, and perhaps even make use of the power of history, of empires, which use these powers for destruction and bring them towards a gilur, towards a revelation of B'loi Cholal Let's Gavoited. That's really the pshat in the Gemara, and this is what the Rashbi did, and this is very, very important. We go on a little bit further, but I want to say is that the Rashbi, the Zohar, is the source not only of the learning, of the study of the metaphysical structure, right, of the spiritual worlds, but through the kavanas. What Yari did was not only interpreting the Zohar, was able to take the secrets of the Zohar and use them as kavanas, as mystical intentionalities within the midst of the tefillah, and through mitzvahs and tefillah, and actually through, of course, through Limud Torah, that not only are we actually performing religious rites and actually doing the avodah, the law of Kadosh Baruch Hu, but we're engaging in a real spiritual change of the entire universe. And through that spiritual change, our impact on history and the world is far greater than any material power that can be imagined by man. And that's really the Rashbi here. So the tefillahs here, the tefillahs here at the Rashbi are particularly important. The Ari came here and it took him 3 days. Okay, we're only here for a half hour. The Ari took him 3 days. It's interesting, he made up a mitzvah for his son. Why did he make up a mitzvah for his son? And about mitzvah, we say a person gets moichin. In other words, a person is endowed. A person's ability to spiritually affect the world is endowed with the bar mitzvah. So one of the tefillahs we should really think about is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us we should have the sati, the shema, the will of heaven. That our tefillahs and our lima and our Torah, not only, right, that they should be the way in which we to listen to the mitzvahs and do the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but actually we're able to use our God-given talents to actually impact upon the world and bring history of the world to its final completion. Okay, stop over here.
Hey, just like we came up with